From the second it was rumored, this is one I have been looking forward to wholeheartedly. Just the play potential, the diorama potential. I honestly didn't think they'd do it, but they have. All right, enough standing. What do you say we expedite this trial and get him out? Court is now in session. Forget the 5 faces of darkness. Right here, you got the 5 faces of dopeness. I can't promise that won't be the last time I do that either. They really have just done an exceptional job on this sculpt. Even the little blast effect bit down the bottom so that you can create that, like, you know, that effect of them bubbling. Right, in terms of articulation, this is going to be a pretty easy one. He's got tentacles that go up and down. They are going to be at whatever random bendy pattern they happen to come out the packet as, but, you know, whatever. If you really wanted to, you could get into it and remold them, probably, and bend them around. I can understand it because toys don't super do that anymore, but it would have been nice if these were actually like a wire so that you could properly position them. As it is, I'm a little bit afraid of, you know, bending them too much and creating stress points. In this form, his main action feature, obviously, is the spinning faces. And that's just on this little lever here. You can, like, click it. When you're trying to move them around, right, you can click it once and kind of get to the next face. Or you can give it a full click and it'll skip a face. Oh! Oh ho ho ho! Gotta re-roll that die. I guess the action kind of works. I almost prefer the face moving action of the Cyberverse one where you press a button on top and it switches the face. It was a smoother action in my opinion. They really are just magnificent sculpts. I should also mention that some of the faces do have mouths so that they can eat nachos. Yum 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 yum. Lick, 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 lick. How undignified. This one kind of looks like my Uncle Pete. No mouth action here. Just the ones that have got, you know, the Egyptian-esque pharaoh chins. Turn back. Shut up. Oh, please. We never get to say it. I have always loved what the Quintessons represent to the Transformers mythology. Because when you've got like an almost undying ancient species like the Transformers, it's cool to think that like there's elements of their past that has just been lost just by the nature of time and not being able to keep track of that much stuff with so many cataclysms and expansions and functionists and what have you. The other thing I really like about it is it gives the Autobots and the Decepticons like an external threat. It adds another level to the war. Personally, my favorite sort of version, origin story for the Quintessons, I like to think that, you know, Unicron, Primus, that original kind of origin story, and then when the Fallen betrayed Primus and cut him off from his body and got banished for it, so that, you know, the consciousness of Primus then was just trapped in Vector Sigma. I like to think that the Quintessons found this world, and that's when they started their factory line thing of tapping into the powers of Vector Sigma and creating, you know, their slave races. And it makes sense as well that, you know, from there, that they would want to forget that. Even look at, like, you know, the short span of human history. How many aspects and elements have we lost and have no idea how it really unfolded? Or, you know, even just the fact that, you know, history is written by the victors. So if you don't want to mention the fact that you were, you know, created to fill a market share, which is, you know, kind of ironic given the whole purpose of the franchise, I could imagine leaving that out, right? It makes much more sense to be like Destiny, Primus, Chosen One, 13 Primes kind of origin story. Honestly, I find it really difficult to imagine that there aren't any OG Transformer fans out there who aren't frothing to get their hands on this, just for the display value alone. Being able to set up that courtroom scene. When I see what I want, I'm gonna take it. Now, for your troubles, you're obviously not just getting Eggbot himself. There are a couple of accessories. There's this one silly little gun, like in that episode, which is kind of cool the way they've played this off. What you can do is you can go ahead and loop one of these around and plug it in. There's a couple of these around it. Oops. Alright, you plug that in, then you can get his little blasty boy, put that on this other peg on the tendril. But boom! Now you've got stick 'em up Quintesson.
Everybody down on the floor. I just want the money. Sharkticons aren't cheap. Come on, do it.
Wise guy, eh?
So as well as the little pistol, he also comes with this wonderful lazy boy recliner. What's kind of fun is you can take this little pistola and it does store nicely under his chair. In case he ends up in like a Greedo Han scenario where he needs to shoot first, it's there if he needs it. So you can also, there's, you know, tabby tab, a couple of holes here. You can go ahead and just peg him on. And now you've got a Quintesson on a chair. Pretty nifty, right? For a size comparison, let's go ahead and get our army builders in there. The Titans Return Sharkticon. Let's get a couple of the Cyberverse Sharkticons in there for those second level boss fights. And then not to give too much of the game away in terms of what's coming out on the channel, but here he is with some courtroom scene completion.
The Cybertronian race has been found lacking. The punishment must fit the crime.
So the transformation is kind of weird, right? I'll level with you. It's a strange one. I'm grateful that they just put anything at all. They sort of didn't really have to, right? Like, no one expected the Quintesson to transform. I think everyone's just grateful for this figure.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition!
But, the first thing you want to do is get this dome and take it off. I will say this now while it's here. It does irk me a little bit that there's no mechanism to fasten this. So, you know, if you tip it, it just comes tumbling out. Kind of like Scorpius. So we've got this little badass cage. I do love me a jail feature in a playset, so at least now we got something like that. Take this, put it to the side. Also, put this to the side. The chair, we just want to unfold it so that we can lay it flat, like so. Just put that to the side for now. Take off the gun. That gun can just go ahead and, you know, go on top of that missile cage. And don't steal my stuff. Pew! So then, if you come down to the base of the Quintesson, pull down that trigger, you'll be able to take off this blast effect. Then it's just a matter of unpegging each face and folding it up like a flower as the sun sets. Even if they decided just to make it like a rocket ship or something, that would work better, right? Next thing you want to do is you got to make sure that this base bit is lined up with this piece that has the two nubs needs to be on the side that has the two nubs. So if it's not the right one, just give it a spin until you see who you need to see. The other way you can identify this one is it's got the bridge building port at the top. But anyway, flip that down, make sure that lines up with those notches to hold it securely. Same deal with the other sides, but they aren't entryways, they'll just go down to, you know, form the base pod bit. They're double hinged, so you just want to make sure you get them down. Now the instructions just has these, like, you know, sort of folded away. I think it's cooler for whatever the hell you were imagining that this goddamn machine is, just to take the ends and plug them in between the heads. Then it just makes it seem more like, I don't know, they're power cables or something. It loosely gives me vibes of the Biker Mice from Mars, like, teleporter playset. I always wanted that. Maybe I'll get it. But yeah, anyway, this isn't a fish, this is fan moding it, but I think it's cool. I don't know, that just looks more like something's happened to it. I feel like Aloy is about to come through and claim it to try and get a treasure box. Right, when it's like that, you want to take this dome. You can plug the blast effect into it. It's got 2 holes, if you can find them. It's hard to see with the clear. Like so. And then you can just Mary Poppins it in on top. Now once again, there's, you know, nothing securing it. It's just balanced there, and that's kind of dumb and lazy in my opinion. And we just want to go ahead and plug these into each other. Fold that down. Sit that like that. Get your little rage cage. Sit that there. You got yourself a stew going. Prison cage is cool. I guess it makes it something. It's hitting on the whole judge, prison, jail sort of thing. I'm not sure who comes out of there to do a guest spot. You know, if you're in there, why would you walk out and hop in a cage when you've already in a cage? Or maybe the five faces, like, rather than consuming energon or something like that, they trap smaller life forms in there and just slowly feed off them through the course of their lives, converting them into energy. Gross. So whack as this is, the cage is still like a lot of fun. So Micromasters, Battle Masters work. Not everyone's gonna work, but you know, what do you do? You know, have your sharkticons bring in a poor unsuspecting fool. It's like, no, 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 get in the cage, get in the cage. The cage itself, right, just splits in half. Get the poor bastard who's about to become, you know, Quintesson food. Get him in there. I'm in a glass cage of emotion!
He's inspecting me. I'm going down. What's in the crate is my business. I suggest you concern yourself with your own. Disgusting. It is good to be back. Yes. Too long. What took you so long? I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's a war going on out there. I couldn't risk exposing myself. Do not speak to me of war, boy. Leave war to your betters. Big talk for someone hiding underground. So good that you need the likes of me and mine to do all your dirty work. There was a time where the savagery of the sharkticons would have been more than enough to accomplish our goals. That time has passed.
We must look forward. It was an error and judgment on our part.
Yes, we have a new plan to help us tackle the Cybertronian menace. I suppose that's the poor sport of a glitch I saw strapped to the table on the way tell me all this. You're not worried that I'm gonna run and tell the Autobots are the Decepticons? Your judgment is at hand. You forget, Double Dealer. You have already been judged. We called you here today for a delivery as much as sentencing. The hell are you talking about?
They actually make for quite the cool looking fighting force once you smash a few of them together. Good lord, I cannot wait to get the Pit of Judgment set. Add a different Alicon in there in the form of the bailiff, that different coloured sharkticon. Ugh. Fill out that side-scrolling cast of escalating enemies. Yes, please. I'm done laughing.